All right, so I'm going to give you three things we did right and three things we did wrong in 3 minutes. So what I got wrong, to start. There's this expectation that there'd be more and bigger budget social impact games for future learners. I was wrong. And I even made some of this junk. So I admit it. This is one of the games I made way back in 2009. It was not good. I will just tell you that now.
And Lindsay Grace, who is the Knight Chair and Director of the Interactive Media MFA program at the University of Miami. And he's also the curator of the Games for Change Festival this year. So I don't know how Lindsay does everything, but he tends to overachieve and overdeliver. So I'm very grateful to him.
I'm Lindsay Grace. I'm a professor, game designer, developer, artist, and author. I've produced more than 75 peer-reviewed books, chapters, articles, and papers, primarily focused on Games for Change. Most notably is doing things with games, social impact through play, which is what I primarily teach from. I also serve as the Higher Education Video Game Alliance Vice President, and I've served as the former Vice President of the Global Game Jam. And so a lot of the work I do is largely focused on iterative game design and rapid game making. I'm an awarded game designer, including getting the 2019 Vanguard Award winner for Games for Change, among others. And I produced more than 30 solo and team and student projects focused on Games for Change. I've also been teaching games for more than 15 years. And I've taught at these three institutions, Miami University, American University, and University of Miami, which are respectively public, private in DC, and private in Miami, Florida. That'll help inform some of the way that I've been sort of doing the work that I've been doing. Likewise, I've been director or co-director of the academic programs, which means I have control over curriculum, which is a distinct opportunity in this context. I've personally taught more than 90 class sections since 2003, more than 14 new classes created as part of my curriculum design at the institutions that I've worked, and I've created or co-created 4 degree programs specifically aimed at games or Games for Change. I've also done everything from classes in social impact game making, where we're just doing a simple 1 semester implementation from marketing to release, as well as doing these sort of multi-semester, multi-instructors. I've seen games education mature. I've seen it go from its geeky awkward stage to its geek chic stage. I've seen it be weird, and I've seen it become the prom queen. We even have a game for that. It's been a bit like an 80s movie. And like the 80s film, we need to teach that stereotypes don't tell the whole story. I have a question for sort of the developer community, right?
Sure.
So we've got a bunch of game makers here. How do you actually maintain a moral compass at the speed of generative AI development?
Yes.
If I may, I think one of the things that I think is really important is that when we're teaching people game design, we're actually teaching them about addressing problems, and so framing the problems are often an ethical consideration, right? The way that you say this problem of climate change is addressed is potentially an ethical claim, and I think that's what's really wonderful about even the people who don't go into Games for Change. Essentially what we're doing is we're teaching them to be good critical thinkers and to apply that to the rest of their media consumption, to say, this movie says all I have to do is this game says all I have to do is this. Yeah, absolutely love it. Absolutely. So one of the things I've done in the studios that I run as sort of co-curricular or integrated into curriculum is I tend to try and spend a lot of my time engaging with external clients. And often these might be federal entities with 3-letter acronyms, or they may be private entities that are sort of saying, I think we need a game. I think that's the solution. Lindsay Grace, and I'm going to be talking about moral panic and misunderstanding. Last year, I wrote a couple of articles for CNN and some other venues, Associated Press, and also sat on a panel around discussing the new World Health Organization's classification of games addiction and this debate around games and violence and whether or not shooters are somehow inspired by games. Assuming people hear and read academics, you don't. Why would you read this? This is so hard to understand. Look at these words. So don't do it. And I used to do this, now I do this. I package it in one book, give you that instead. And we're gonna keep trying. Thank you.